Coach Eli Almanza, thanks for being on Sideline Sessions. I'm excited to have you. We've hit double digits with you, episode 10. So,
Yeah, of
welcome. Thanks for making time.
course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I'd like to get into your background. You're a player here,
Yep.
grew up here, local kid,
hmm
played high school football, Rocky Mountain lacrosse at Rocky Mountain. And then I think it's interesting because uh, you've gone through and been part of the systems to help launch other kids, and your story of how maybe some adversity that came along, and then to where you're now winning a state championship. So
Yeah.
let's get started. Youth, tell me about how you got started.
Yeah. Started playing lacrosse in fourth grade.
Mhm.
Gary Wheeler, so Coach Gary,
There you go.
introduced me to the sport, along with, I'd say, 10 other,
Mhm.
of, probably my best friends to this day.
Yeah.
All lived in the same neighborhood, so started playing lacrosse that way. Football started as soon as I could. I think it was kindergarten or first
Yeah.
grade whenever we can first play flag football. So football has always been in my life, lacrosse since
Mhm.
fourth grade. For the club scene for lacrosse, started playing with Gary, 208 lacrosse, Sawtooth, and then to Gary, rebranded a
Okay.
couple times, ID Select and Tropics, and then I finished out playing with True
Okay.
for my final recruitable
And close
season.
D, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. So started out as a midfielder, and then no one wanted to play goalie, so I played goalie.
Yeah.
So I'd say probably
Classic.
2 years. Yep. Uh, And then best friend Kai Nelson, he's playing at Flagler right now.
Hmm.
Uh,
Been there. Great
oh
campus.
yeah, yeah. He was like, let's play defense. We had a really good chemistry. He was a receiver. I was a quarterback for football, and
Hmm.
so the chemistry was always there. And I was like, let's create some slides and double teams, playing lacrosse, and let's have a really good time doing it. So
Okay. When was that switch? Remind me again. Middle school-ish?
yeah, I'd say probably sixth grade.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah, sixth grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so you were on the circuit going out playing club lacrosse.
Yep.
And then tell me about, I think you went to College of Idaho for a brief time.
I did. Yep. I
Okay.
went there for the fall of 2021.
Okay.
This was after COVID and everything happened. There was a coaching change
Hmm.
after I had committed to the school. Um, Offensive coordinator was promoted to head coach at the time. Um, I had made a lot of good friends at C of I. I'd say, there was a lot of good lacrosse being played. Um, it wasn't the program for me and what I was looking for out of the
Hmm.
college experience. I'd say from an organizational standpoint at the time that the program was in. Which I left at semester, went to Boise State, got straight into coaching. I was actually helping the Boise State team when they won their first conference championship
Nice.
in 2022. So I'd say probably January, February of 2022 is when I went all in on coaching, and
Okay.
I'm standing here now. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Well, let's get into that because first job, first time as a head coach
mhm,
in high school, you just happened to dominate
mhm,
an undefeated season, if I remember correctly. And then we keep rolling through the playoffs into a state championship,
yeah.
which is pretty impressive. So
It was a good year for us.
it was a good
It was
year.
a good year for us.
Absolutely. Uh, so as you came in as a head coach, you've had a lot of head coaches throughout your playing time, football and lacrosse, and
Yeah.
different coaches.
hmm hmm
And I want to kind of get into what things that you've taken away from those coaches to help that you brought into as a head coach at Timberline,
Yeah.
and maybe some things you left to the wayside too.
Um, I'd say my time at Rocky Mountain was probably my most full time of my life for how I coach now. My philosophies now. Chris Keeling, now the coach over at BK. They're
Hmm.
playing tonight in the state game. I wish him luck. Wish him luck there because I was coaching over there with them last year. So I'd say Q in that Rocky football program, that, the principles, the discipline, everything that I took from my 4 years there is what I try to implement into Timberline, from accountability to work ethic
Hmm.
to communicating with your coaches,
Yeah.
um, and then leading by example on and off the field. That's, I'd say those components are something that Rocky um, thoroughly implanted in me when I was coming up as a player, benefited me, and so I think I could give that back to our Timberline kids in that same way. Um, so, from a coaching standpoint, a lot of what I get in my inspiration comes from the football standpoint more so than
Hmm.
lacrosse. Um, again, from structure to
Yeah.
discipline to how you walk in your everyday life. Those are all things that Rocky football was able to teach me.
And I agree. I think there's a small misconception, but maybe bigger, that maybe families join lacrosse because they think it's going to be less footballish.
Hmm.
And in my personal opinion, I think there's a little bit of a gap, that of those things that you talked about, the discipline, the accountability, the earn it
Hmm.
mentality,
Right.
and maybe a softness, right? That has kind of held lacrosse back, I
Yeah.
think, in this area.
Hmm.
Being a previous football family ourselves, transitioning into lacrosse, and and I think there's that lack of trust also, that you know parents don't have the trust in the coaches to believe that when they hold their players accountable, like in football,
Hmm.
that they're doing it for the right reasons. Uh, so I am excited
Hmm.
watching your program last year, sidelines as a fan, and you could see it. There was a different. The kids were more. They were locked in differently than maybe some of the other programs, or I've even seen Timberline in the past.
Hmm.
Which leads me to, like, change management.
Yeah.
Let's use some corporate talk here.
Yeah.
And going into coming in as a fresh new head coach,
Hmm.
how did that go? Some obstacles, maybe some trust you had to earn there,
Hmm.
coming as the first head coach in a while.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I mean, I think when you hire any 21-year-old kid
Yeah,
that's just graduated high school or hasn't, or sorry, college,
yeah.
hasn't graduated college yet, you have some questions,
Hmm.
right? And I get that. I completely agree. And I'd say I walked into the perfect situation. Um, from the board, they gave me enough wiggle room to
Hmm.
wiggle. They took care of things that they probably should have taken care of at that time too, right? Some maybe they would decide rather than me being a
Okay.
kind of dictator, I
Yeah.
guess. So, um, I walked into the perfect situation and they support me,
Mhm.
right? Every decision that's made is talked about, right? It's a community, from the coach to the board. We try to make community decisions and not,
Yeah.
soul minded.
Hmm.
Um,
And I would add that it seems like a lot of your decisions aren't just for today.
that's correct.
We're looking forward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to do with our program. Is we're in a good spot right now, but we can't be complacent
Right.
with where we're at. Um, with the lull in lacrosse numbers right now, we need to be aggressively, you know, pursuing the youth to keep the program where it is right now with 11 state championships and a fairly good reputation,
Yeah.
with lacrosse around the league. So, um, yeah, I mean, walking in that first day, I can't really think of too many growing pains,
Okay.
so to say. I mean, there was stuff that there was new to me that maybe I didn't see from a assistant coach's perspective
Hmm.
or coordinator's perspective. So, um, honestly, it was really smooth
That's great.
walking into the program.
And not only maybe the youngest head coach at the time,
Yep,
but the overall coaching staff was young,
yep,
right? I mean,
yep.
the average age was probably 22, 23,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. Our oldest, again, last year,
Yeah.
our two middle school coaches were our oldest
There you go.
in the program.
Hmm.
From a high school level, our oldest coach was, I think, 26.
Yeah.
So
which is awesome,
awesome.
right? Yeah, yeah, and a fresh perspective, and different kind of hunger there. Yeah, different energy.
For sure.
Yeah, you definitely you could feel it at those games,
Yeah.
and man, it was exciting to watch last year. Yeah, I'm excited for this next year. So we you said there wasn't a it was a pretty smooth transition, but if you had to pick out, what was like the first major obstacle or one that maybe if you had to redo coming in your first year for any other young coach that might
Hmm.
be coming in, something that you would advise to look ahead on, or like, hey, make sure you have your ducks in a row for these things.
Hmm.
You got any advice on that?
Um, Strength and conditioning program.
Okay.
I'd say that's probably been not just last year, but this year. Off the field does a great job, and they
Hmm.
they have their hand in so many programs, and with that are scheduling and availability,
Right.
issues. And so I think, um, being a younger voice and making sure that you want something done at a certain time, I'd
Hmm.
say was a little bit hard.
Okay.
Or if I could go back, maybe I would be a little bit more stern
Okay.
in it. Um, which it all worked out great. We got exactly what we wanted. But I
Good.
think having discussions with older people that might not respect your voice as much,
Sure.
that was probably the biggest learning curve.
Okay.
Um, was, I need to develop this relationship before this person gives me the time of day,
Yeah.
right? Not
Which
looking at
which
me
happens
from
in
a
any business situation, right?
player
Yeah.
perspective, right?
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting. So, yeah, I think strength and conditioning is like the first or last thing to get thought about.
Hmm.
First thing maybe is like we're just going to do it what we've always done,
Right.
and there's not as much evaluation. Is this effective?
Hmm.
Right? Do our players look like they're getting stronger or faster or staying healthy longer?
Right.
Right? It's another thing. It's one thing to just lift a bunch of weight. It's another to be able to perform
Mhm.
and be safe and healthy
Right.
and continue. Uh, we used to joke in football like you start out at 100% at the beginning of the year,
Yep.
100% healthy, right?
Hmm.
And the team that can stay as close to 100% is probably going to make it.
Yep.
And that all starts in the weight room.
It
And on
does.
top of that, the conditioning overall
Yes.
makes that difference. So,
Absolutely.
uh, yeah, that's great. That's a great tip.
Yeah.
And I think it's totally undervalued.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wolves' identity playing last year. And I want to talk about what's new for this year. So,
Yeah.
last year, who were you and what did you try to drive home as a culture there?
Yeah. We had 13 seniors last year that
Mhm.
graduated. And when I took the job, I met with some of the leadership players. And in our discussion, they wanted exactly what I wanted from a program standpoint, how we operated practices, what we were doing outside of practice, how people were handling themselves. Um, the buy-in from those seniors and I'd say sophomores or juniors now. Um, Everything seemed to align. It wasn't perfect, right?
Sure.
But from a mentality standpoint, from buy-in standpoint, everyone was on the same page. Um, and so from that, it was okay. We have these goals, but if we're not being accountable to ourselves, to our teammates,
Hmm.
there's no way we can
You
achieve
mind
them.
telling me a couple of those goals?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, first one, state championship.
Hmm.
Second was um, it was more defensive goals, right?
Okay.
Holding teams to 6 goals or less. That was a kind of a statistic goal
Hmm.
that we had.
Yeah.
Playing into that, we need to be tough. And
Yep.
Timberline's always been a tough program.
Hmm.
Um, they've always gotten after it physically and stuff like
Yeah.
that. How can we nature some of that
Yeah.
into the league that we play in now,
Sure.
right? And how can we be smart without running away from that identity, which is being
Hmm.
a physical and tough lacrosse team.
Yeah. I'm doing it in all the right ways.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't hurt yourself with it.
Right.
Maintain your cool,
Right.
a controlled violence of sort.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of that started in practice. Timberline, we're not a large program with 60 kids, so we're running 2 or 3 different practices at a time. everyone's together. So we have a 17 or 18-year-old going up against a 14 or 15-year-old.
Hmm.
You know, if we're in a sixes period or a competition period, um, it didn't take long for those kids. If they had a matchup that wasn't favorable for the development of the younger kid, they knew how to handle that situation. I'm going to play tough. I'm going to play aggressive, but I'm going to play in a way that makes him better.
Hmm.
That doesn't detriment my play at the
Yeah.
same time. And I think that's hard to coach, um, you know, especially when you have hyper competitive individuals, which a lot of our seniors were last year. We
Yeah.
had a lot of hungry kids that just wanted it bad. Um, so if you can retain, if you can kind of reel them in and
Hmm.
nurture the excitement or whatever the feelings are, um, that's something that our seniors did a tremendous job for us last year. Is just nurturing a program and setting that example for our younger kids to play that way in the upcoming years.
Okay. This coming year,
Yeah.
I'd like to have you on in the spring, but
Yep.
something that maybe you're carrying forward and maybe something that you uh, are adjusting
Hmm.
that you've learned from last year that you're going to take into next season.
Yeah. Um, we have three seniors this year.
Okay.
So the rest of our team
Hmm.
comprised of freshmen, sophomores, juniors.
Yeah.
Uh, our play style has to be a little bit different. Um, we're not as big or fast or strong as we were last year, just with
Sure.
those 13
Yep.
seniors. And
Younger
so
guys. Yeah.
with that, I think we've got to play smarter. We played a really fast paced brand of lacrosse last year, and we could. We had the
Hmm.
defenders that could run the ball down the field no matter
Yep.
who it was. And we could put four midfielders out there or four attackmen out there, if we wanted to. Just the way that we run our lines, and they'd be just fine. So I think this year it's going to be a little bit more structure. Um, not as much freedom, I'd say, within the offense and defense.
Yeah.
But it's also a fine line where if you prove it,
Right.
let's go.
Let's go. If that's how
And
you want to play, let's
it's
see you do it.
exactly, and
Yeah.
that's kind of how I am. I'm gonna let you play to your capability, and if you overdo that or if you expand to that,
Hmm.
let's throw some wrinkles in there and let's let you go have some fun and test yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Um, I want to touch on something else. It seems like a young, being a multi-sport athlete
Hmm.
yourself, a lot of families are getting shoehorned into single sports,
Hmm.
right? And if little Johnny or Sally want to play, this is what they got to do, right? They got to specialize in this sport. I personally think that's BS, and you shouldn't play for a coach that tells you that.
Yep.
Love to get your thoughts as a multi-sport athlete on that exact same thing.
No, I'm a football guy. Any parent or kid that
Hmm.
asks me, what other sport should I play? Go
Yeah,
play football.
right.
I think basketball is probably a close second, but I'd I'd say football, especially in our area. Um, there's a lot of coaches that have a similar sort of
Hmm.
approach that Rocky football does and holding people accountable and creating a championship culture around the sport. Um, if you play one sport for me, it's really hard to increase your IQ. The
That's fair.
players that I've come across, if you're only a lacrosse guy, and I'm trying to explain concepts or spacing concepts, it's very difficult because they haven't played football
Hmm.
where, you know, you're facing the field out, you have route concepts. You're playing basketball, you have
Yeah,
different motions. Um, and I don't think just lacrosse players get that.
I agree.
And it's, from an IQ from an IQ standpoint, and then I'd say just a personal, a personal outlook of where you are. Right? When I was in the Rocky football program, there's nothing that came before the team. And I think a lot of lacrosse players think that way.
Hmm.
At least sole lacrosse players that only play that way.
Yeah.
it's not a lot of how can I help my team? It's I'm going to go pay for a trainer. I'm going to go do this tournament, that tournament,
Sure.
whatever the case may be. Um, Staying in one sport year round doesn't give you perspective, I think, of how you're going to see life once you graduate or
Right.
you're removed
Yep.
from the sport. So I'd say, it is very important, or at least, if you're an upcoming player through the Timberline program, please play multiple sports. Um,
Yeah.
it's going to help you not only personally,
Hmm.
from an athletic standpoint, but I think mentally and from a
Absolutely.
a
And
developmental
physically, like your body will,
exactly
you can only take so many reps of one sport before
right.
something gives. You need to mix it up,
You do
or take some time off.
yeah.
Sure.
That, and you need to be able to know how to cut and
Hmm.
sprint and run in different
Yep.
sports, and I think that soft tissue injuries.
Hmm.
I think that's also a part of it. A lot of these one sport players are seeing an increase in injury.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that could be a reason.
Yeah.
Could be wrong, but
Well, I would say yes, but I'm just a dad for the microphone. But who's been around a while? And I would say flipping it the other way for anybody that happens to be a football coach out here, if the players play lacrosse or any other coach,
mhm,
any other sport, 9 times out of 10, lacrosse will slow down
yep,
the other sport. So, like a football player that plays lacrosse, football it becomes slower
yeah,
because you just see the field in a different way.
yep,
And football is a staged event
yep,
versus the free flow that takes place on the sides of a football field.
right,
You'll learn to anticipate things differently,
yep,
more natural lines that you'll take to cut
mhm,
off, and because that's what you're doing. Like an outside linebacker, the D end, the middle linebacker,
right,
and then your whole secondary. And quite frankly, the feat that O lineman can develop playing lacrosse
mhm,
is just insane.
yep,
So it's a very complimentary sport,
very.
and I wish more coaches around here were cool with that.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Hmm.
I'd say it's changed a little bit. Um, I'd say coaches are starting to be a little more lenient.
Yeah.
I don't say it's been significant progress, but I'd say there's a couple programs that are being more lenient
Yeah.
toward their dual athlete players. Um,
Absolutely. I don't mean to
yeah,
say
no, no,
everybody, but
no, no,
yes.
and I mean, I went through it.
Hmm.
I went from back to football. I decided I was going to pursue lacrosse.
Yeah.
Um, which I think that hurt me in football in some ways because you're gone, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of those big programs, they expect you to be there
They got some
the 4 days a
serious
week,
ownership, I think, of
the
the play.
four
Yeah.
days a
Right.
week that you're scheduled to be there. And so, I'd say there's been some long names in the valley that I think have had a little shift in
Hmm.
thinking
And
for that
the other
for
thing
that
is like
reason.
a football player that plays lacrosse goes to college and plays lacrosse.
Yeah.
That's still you still had a piece of that as a coach, right? And then your players are seeing success,
Mhm.
and you help develop that player and give them skills that were different, just like we were talking about.
Yeah.
And anybody that's worth their weight wants to see a young person that they've helped shape be successful, whether it's on their field or
Yeah.
somebody else's. And man, it brings back like it highlights your program.
Hmm.
Yeah, that football team or whatever. Like
Right.
we're putting kids in college in multiple
Yeah.
ways. So the big picture sometimes gets lost for the wins today. Uh, but like you said, the more we do on this lacrosse side, the more we can
Right.
help shift those minds. So
Yeah. Well, especially at C of I mean, you have a lot of, or at least it used to be. I'm not
there's
quite sure
quite
where
a
it is
few
now.
dual sport athletes there right now.
I think when I was a freshman, there were three of my teammates
Hmm.
that were going to go play lacrosse and football at College of Idaho.
Right?
Um, and I think that's awesome. From a high school coach's
Yeah.
perspective, like
How cool is that?
if I can get, a kid playing both sports he loves,
Hmm.
it doesn't work out, maybe, but you had the opportunity and, I was able to help you get there.
Yeah.
From a coach's viewpoint, that's how I think
Yeah.
you should
Absolutely.
view
How cool is that? Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about get back to building the program a little.
it. Hmm.
Uh, I don't see you going anywhere. Someone magically comes in with a giant bucket of money. which could happen absolutely. But short term as a coach here at Timberline, just getting rolling,
Hmm.
and then maybe some long term. I don't know if how far you've
Yeah.
thought out, but let's talk about those.
Yeah. Short term, and we might be able to achieve it this spring. Uh, you know, we want to get a fifth and sixth grade team into BBYLL,
Okay,
uh,
like
under
a
the
Timberline,
under the Timberline banner.
awesome. That's a
BK
great
had a
idea.
similar
Hmm.
model
Yep.
this last spring. So that's a short-term goal.
Mhm.
Hopefully we make it
Yeah.
happen this spring. If not, for sure next spring. Um, but
How's that being perceived with Church Valley so far?
awesome,
Are you in those talks? I guess. Okay,
awesome.
great.
Um, I don't want to speak for him, but I think if we had more of that,
Hmm.
I think the exposure and the interest level might increase a little bit.
Okay,
Even if it's one or two kids that are
sure.
repping a Timberline jersey at
Yeah,
school or wherever.
yeah.
Um, so that'd be the short-term goal from a youth perspective, right?
Hmm.
We want a fifth, sixth grade team and then a seventh, eighth grade team in Swila. Um, and the goal is, from a registration standpoint, if we can get 10 from each class, that gives us a 40-man healthy high school roster.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe be a short, long-term goal is and that be stable, right? The
Hmm.
stableness of having kids
Yep.
throughout the
Getting the
program
feeder, the
instead
hopper
of
full. Yeah.
a recycling system.
Hmm.
And I think lacrosse sees a lot of that where maybe a football kid comes out and maybe had a bad experience in fifth and sixth grade or whenever he started,
Hmm.
and he never turns back to the sport. Um, I think that hurts us a lot.
Yeah.
Um, which short-term goal. I think we're trying to resolve that and try to you know mediate that as best as possible. Not that we've had bad coaches, but we don't want that situation happening in our program.
Hmm.
We want to try to avoid that as much
Something
as
you're
possible.
mindful of, and you'll make sure it isn't a.
Right. Like every kid that touches
Mhm.
our program, we hope to give them a good experience to where when they graduate on senior night, got their arm and dad next to them, we're celebrating them. So, that's what we're trying to do is we're really diving into our youth right now, um, helping get those numbers up and the growth of the valley. We think that there's a good chance that we have success in it for a long time.
Okay.
Um, from a high school perspective, short term, obviously I mentioned 40, the 40 kids between, freshman, sophomore, junior, junior, senior. That's it's difficult to set that number out there and capitalize on it with the low numbers that we do have.
Hmm.
Um, and then the re boy, I would say it's a little bit different going from West Ada to Boise School District because you have four classes
Hmm.
in the high school.
Yep.
Um, I don't know how the coaches feel or whatever, but I think it hinders the development from an athletic standpoint, keeping those freshmen with
With their feeder
eighth,
high schooler.
seventh,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
sixth,
Okay, I
and fifth
gotcha. Hmm.
graders. Um, so I'd say that's harder. Uh, Traveling, finding rides for kids to go from
Yeah.
East Junior to wherever we're practicing or whatever. Um, so I'd say the larger registration numbers, that's a long-term goal for us. If we can get 40 kids in the program at least,
Hmm.
and that's a stabilized number. It's
Yeah.
not 40 kids this year and,
Right.
you
50
know,
or something,
eh,
and then 30.
right.
Right.
Do we want to get as many kids in a class? Absolutely. Um, but I think making it a stable system to where, maybe we don't need to go to elementary schools, in 10 years,
Yeah.
right?
They
Or
just know what's up.
they know what the sport is and
Hmm.
and it becomes a first or secondary sport.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'd say short answer, long-term goals, get the participation numbers you know, at a stable number and keep it consistent there.
Great. So we're talking about feeding the program,
Hmm.
developing the program. Let's talk about the players that want to play at the next level, and maybe how you help. set them up for success, advice, fall upon your own history.
Hmm.
You happen to have another part-time job that we'll talk about, or full-time job,
Hmm.
where you're assistant club director for True.
Yep.
So you have different resources
Right.
there, but still as a Timberline player, and not all Timberline players play for True.
Mhm.
So how do some things that you in particular do that may be different as far as helping those young players get ready for the next level or set them up for what that might look like?
Yeah.
Just the honest truth to
Right.
it.
Um, I'll start with on the field. On the field, we try to, from the practice plan to the concepts that we implement, we try to give them college concepts, how we run our practice, what does off the field look
Hmm.
like, how do we tie
Yeah.
everything in together. On the field perspective, we try to give them as much college material as we can. Um, Off the field, I try to check in with my kids twice a year, uh, fall, spring, and the question to them is, what do you want to do? Right? Do you want lacrosse to be part of that equation? And it changes, and that's why I try to keep up with them as much as I can. I'd say junior and senior year, I'm trying to check on them more frequently.
And these are formal. They have the spotlight one-on-one time.
Yes.
Yeah. Or
And it,
just, you still check in whenever possible, and of
right,
course during the season, all those
right.
things. But these are
And it
these
may
are
be
one-on-ones.
and it may be informal, right? It
Hmm.
may be if I'm at a workout or, you know, even during practice and they're sitting out or whatever.
Yeah.
Just a brief 5 minute, because trying to sit a kid down and make them talk for 30 minutes when it's really a 5 minute discussion,
Sure.
um, I don't see too much value in that. But checking in with them, especially as freshmen and sophomores, they change
Yeah.
interests. Maybe
Yeah.
they took a science class that they didn't take freshman year, and now they
Hmm.
want to go do science in college. So keeping a consistent line of communication, and then with that, do you want to play across? Yes or no. If not, great. How can I help you in your academics? How can
Yeah.
can I get you connected with a tutor? Whatever the case
Hmm.
may be. Um, so I think the flow of the discussion is really identifying, how serious are you in lacrosse?
Yeah.
Because that'll just dictate how we go
Yeah.
moving forward. And sometimes that changes. Right? A kid freshman year maybe doesn't want to play college lacrosse, and then he gets to junior year, and a couple schools,
Hmm.
reach out to him,
Right.
and he's like,
Starts getting some
"That's
belief in
free,
them.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
free money. It's in a good
Sure.
spot. Let's go."
Yeah.
So a consistent line of communication. I want to I want to know what our players want to do.
Hmm.
Um, and then with high schoolers that
Yeah.
changes quite a bit. So communication, keeping it consistent through high school, and then post high school. We have a couple kids that are coming back to help with our middle school
Yeah.
team.
Which is great.
Maybe the college experience or whatever didn't work out for them.
Hmm.
If they left state, whatever the case may be, but now they want to give back to the program,
Yeah.
and so Um, I think caring, knowing what your kids want to do and helping them get there, not just from a lacrosse perspective,
Yeah.
but I think coaches get wrapped up in, and if you're not going, if you're not playing football, if you're not playing lacrosse,
It's not my problem.
well, go talk to your academic counselor,
Sure.
right? And
Yeah.
so I want to try and be involved as much as I can, whether it's lacrosse or not,
Yeah.
in developing them and getting them
Well, why
going,
wouldn't you? I mean, it's
right?
amazing what those young players are capable of, especially when someone just when they know someone has their back and they
Hmm.
believe in it.
Right?
Whether it's just like a bad week or
Yep.
whatever. They can. It's amazing what they can overcome with just knowing that someone supports them
Right.
on and off the field.
Yep.
Uh, let me flip this a little bit
Hmm.
to the parents
Yeah.
who think their kids might want to play in college,
Hmm.
and maybe um, a little advice on that.
Yeah.
Uh, I had previous guests on before us, and one of his advice was Mr. Nicosella.
Hmm.
Don't ever ask your coach where you think your kid's going to play, like at what level. Like that'll shake out.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I mean,
like, and at the same time, like I might have been guilty of that at some point, And it was maybe mine was more of like an efforts, like if we're going to
Hmm.
focus and target, what was the highest success rate, not necessarily a disbelief
Right.
in my child's
Right.
capabilities,
Yep.
uh, but being realistic. But that could also just be justifying a dumb question.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I personally, from the thing that I've seen, any coach that you ask for their recruiting tips or
Hmm.
whatever, everyone's different.
Yeah.
Everyone has a different perspective, and it's probably because of the situations that they went through.
Hmm.
Um, my perspective and how I handle recruiting with my kids is you need to like the place first,
Yeah.
right? If you
Yep.
start looking at
Fit
places
matters.
in the northeast,
Hmm.
and you don't want to be in Buffalo for 9 out of the 12 months when it's freezing,
Yeah. Might
I
want to start looking southern.
right, I don't know if that's the place for you,
Yeah.
right? So I think geographically, where do you want to be? Where
Hmm.
can you see yourself 9 months out of the year? Are you a warm weather guy, cold weather guy? And if that doesn't affect you, the very next thing would be how was your relationship with the coach?
Right.
Did he connect with you on the visit? And does he care? Are there these general conversations that you're having, or
Hmm.
are these in detail? He's asking about your day, or that sort of thing. So, my number one advice to my kids is if you're looking to go play college, you need to have wherever you choose. I hope you choose the one with the best relationship with the coach. Um,
No, that's fair. That's
coaches
great.
coaches move
Hmm.
all the time. They're changing schools, they're changing conferences. Last thing you want to do is give an indication to a coach, I'm too good for your program, or
Right.
you blow them off, and
Yeah. You never
next
know
thing
where
you
they're going to end up.
next thing you know, they're the coordinator at Ohio State or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. So, um, your relationship with coach has to be the most important,
Hmm.
besides the, grades. Can you, play at that level? I
And it
think
has to be their relationship, not mom and dad
correct.
and coach. Yeah.
Yes. Um, yeah, if the parents are talking to the coach consistently
Hmm.
or whatever, I don't think that's going to be a great situation for him. Because as a
Right.
coach, I don't want that in my ear.
I don't blame you.
But well, especially at the college level,
Well,
all
and
right?
it's the kid's
It's
experience, not the
yes,
parent's experience.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
relationship first, and after everything pans out, grades, athletic,
Hmm.
um, it's if you don't like playing for the guy,
Right.
you can't be there.
Yeah.
Um, so that's
Okay.
kind of how I approach it.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Solid advice. I want to get into the larger community here
Hmm.
and maybe how Timberline gets brought up a lot, especially in these conversations I've been having. Out of now 10 episodes,
Hmm.
your program or someone in it, it's probably been mentioned in half of them as far as an example of success.
Hmm.
And I think that's amazing that, um, you know, I'm public schools can do it,
Hmm.
right? You don't have to have all the money in the world, not singling anybody out,
Yeah.
but any school can do it
Hmm.
if they have the commitment and the right people uh, that set those expectations up.
Right.
And how do you see, and maybe it's not your responsibility,
Hmm.
how can Timberline help the broader community? Obviously, continue what they're doing, but is
Yeah.
there, what else do you think, or do you feel that Timberline can do to help the broader community of lacrosse here?
Yeah. So what we're doing, we created a youth committee, registration committee, that Timberline and a couple other programs are spearheading. We had a meeting last week, where it was just kind of an introduction meeting. Where do all the programs stand? Where have been their gripes about getting into elementary schools, or
Hmm.
you know, what are the problems they face with exposing, kids to lacrosse? Um,
This is great.
Yeah, so this committee, I think, if we were able to get a little bit more support from maybe some other programs to really
Hmm.
have it a collective,
Yeah.
this is, Swyla, or
Hmm.
these are all the teams, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
We want to see the best product on the field that we can. By doing that, we start at the youth level and we train the kids to, you know, be good high school players.
Hmm.
So
Let me ask you, how can I
Yeah,
help? How can I help with that? What can I do something to get some more information out for you? Let me know.
yeah,
You don't have to answer that today, but I want to help with that. So
yeah.
get more programs involved.
Well, I mean, off the top of my head, we're going to try to, or maybe hopefully try to, a website and social
Hmm.
media, a centralized lax Idaho lacrosse hub,
Excellent.
where it has information on all the schools, what they're doing,
Hmm.
um, and really just a centralized page to
Hmm.
where if I'm a parent and I have no idea what lacrosse is, I can go to idaholax.com
Hmm.
and anything that I need and everything that I need is right there.
Right.
That could be website, it could be Instagram, whatever it is. And that was one of our big talking points at this meeting we had was all these kids are on their phone
Hmm.
6, 7 hours out of the day. Give them information that's making them productive, lacrosse information,
Yeah.
right? Or for parents, Facebook pages,
Sure.
right? How can we get youth Idaho lacrosse into the feeds of these parents and these kids?
Hmm.
Because all the sports have it, right? House of Highlights or ESPN, right? When you're scrolling through, it's football, basketball, football,
Right.
basketball. So that's one of the things that we're going to try to really attack is the social media presence of lacrosse. How can we hype the sport up, which is something you've done an absolute phenomenal job
Well,
of
thanks.
doing. And your platform is an absolute springboard to what we could do,
Yeah, I
right?
agree.
What we could do and what we could make happen. So, um, you know, again, this committee and at this youth level, there's so many. It was interesting to see, you know, why can't this program get into their feeder elementary schools?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, maybe the AD or the administration or PE teachers don't want it. So just
Sure.
gaining different
Hmm.
perspectives as to why there are hurdles for
Yep.
different
Yeah.
programs.
Doing a classic needs assessment here and see
Exactly.
what we're dealing with. Yeah.
Exactly. So, this youth committee, I think you know, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to grow lacrosse and find ways to do it as a collective effort, not just Timberline building their
Right.
program and CUNA or Valley View's building their program, and there's no collaboration.
Yep.
Um,
This is perfect.
and I think that's where, I don't think in the past that's been a common thought
Right.
or agreement.
Hmm.
I think there's been, whether it's loud voices or prominent figures in the lacrosse world, this is what I'm doing over here, and it stays over here.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's part of the problem. I don't think lacrosse is big enough to get to that point,
No,
right?
we're not.
It's not like football where, you know,
Yeah.
Kreiner's telling the Mountain View coach, this is what we do to, or whatever,
Hmm.
right? Lacrosse is just not at that place to where we can be split. And so that's what this youth registration is. We're trying to bring everyone together and get a
Yeah.
collective
I think
registration
I think it's
numbers up.
great, and it's obviously it's needed, and
Hmm.
exactly why I've been trying to
Yeah.
highlight and showcase, and then starting this show to have people on to,
Hmm.
it's maybe the lift isn't as big as people think, or the
Yeah.
conversations are the same.
Right.
Everybody's having the same problem, so
Right.
let's get together and talk about it and work on some solutions. So
Exactly.
uh, I'm I'm incredibly excited about this that
Yeah.
this is taking place,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't say football has it figured out. It's just a matter of time before maybe it
Hmm.
collapses on itself
Right.
or other sports because they continue to be siloed.
Split. Right.
So,
Right.
and I'd love to see the same thing for the women's side
For sure.
and that youth level too. So, uh, even myself, I'm having a hard time getting over there to help celebrate their wins
Yep.
and highlight their players and people that are making a difference there. So, I could only imagine maybe they're having some same struggles, but
All right.
there's definitely a whole another group over there that we can work together to bring up as well. So
Yeah.
awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. Um, Man, I'm just thinking about that right now. That's all. I'm
Hmm.
just excited. So
Yep.
let's do a couple fun things.
Right. So
Maybe let's talk about not this was I say that every time. as a player,
Hmm.
game day ritual or superstition. These are common themes that I ask everybody. Uh,
Yeah.
and then maybe have those changed now that you're in head coach. And I should highlight, you've
Yeah.
been coaching for years at different positions. So, I apologize
No,
for
you're
that
good.
spot.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Um, as a player, I try to say a prayer before the anthem or during the anthem
Yeah.
as the music's going.
Yeah.
Just, I think a lot of people get the nerves built up. Just
Mhm.
talking to, other
Yep.
people, other coaches, the nerves build up during the anthem.
Hmm.
For me, that's when I try to cool. Um, because I'm pregame, I'm all antsy. I'm
Yeah.
I'm ready to go. I
Of course.
I hate warming up for games.
Yeah.
I just want to get
I'd
going.
just rather walk out on the field and
I
go.
absolutely hate it. So yeah, I'd say just a quick, 20, 30 seconds to just get myself right, get my mentals right. Um, that hasn't changed since I
Okay.
was a player or a coach. Um, yeah, there's probably a couple of pictures of me just closing my eyes during the end.
Sure.
So, um, yeah, that'd be my ritual.
Okay. Anything you game day ritual for like a team that you do? Like any you do somehow you get them locked in, or you just let those guys do what they do? Like is it schedule? Like, hey, we got to be there at this time. No horsing around.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, no, every minute of their practice and pregame plan is detailed, so they know
Okay.
exactly what they're doing
Okay. So that's a
in the
ritual.
minute. Yeah,
Yep. It doesn't change no matter where you're
doesn't
at.
change.
Perfect.
No, doesn't change. We do a post-game ritual
Hmm.
where we do kind of a cool down stretch post-game, but pregame stuff, uh, I try to be the calm and collective while everyone else is
Yeah.
up, right? And then if they need the energy, I'm gonna bring it to them
Oh, I
too.
know you will.
Yeah,
Yeah. Very passionate.
yeah.
Yeah. Which is awesome. Okay. And then Timberline does a great job once again. But like those game day meals or post game meals,
Hmm.
do you have a favorite? Like if you have a big win over somebody, say
Yeah.
over your old coach Gary Wheeler, who's always tough, is there like a celebratory burger or whatever that you go get?
No, just after games, I
Hmm.
can't eat. I can't eat a meal for a few hours.
Okay, still hyped up.
I'm still
That's
going.
fair.
Just about the only thing I can get down is just a basket of fries.
Okay, that's
Just
fine.
fries and fry sauce with a beverage to
Who's got the best fries for you?
um well the typical spot is the Refuge.
Okay.
It's over off Park Center. Some of the referees go there after the games
Hey,
too, so I'll
I
see them
can't be
after the
telling
game.
anybody that just in case they're
I
into.
know, right? It's pretty funny though. So yeah, my wife and I will go over there,
Okay,
just get a basket of fries, maybe a French dip
there you go.
if I'm really hungry.
Okay,
But yeah.
that's good.
Hmm.
Any fries in particular? What you sweet potato fry guy, regular guy? All right. And then if you could bring any pro player or coach to Timberline practice to expose your players to, who would it be and why?
Um, when I was looking at this question, I think I want to flip it a little bit, not flip
Let's
it,
do it.
but go a different direction. Um, it's crazy to say. I would love to have Nick Saban out for Idaho lacrosse practice.
Okay.
I'd say I mean I'd probably watch him and learn from him
Yeah.
out of any coach that I studied, but uh, having a presence like that,
Hmm.
and then if you were to talk to the players afterwards or whatever, from a lacrosse standpoint, it doesn't do you anything. But from a player standpoint,
Yeah.
seeing Nick Saban, one of the greatest,
Sure.
in my opinion, the
Yeah.
greatest to do it,
Hmm.
seeing a passion, seeing a person like that, I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah. I want to undervalue what it does for lacrosse because there's still principles, core principles, no matter what you do.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And yeah, that's a good one. I like how
right,
you turn that question.
right. Like what would accountability look like
Hmm.
from a Saban Alabama team to a Timberline lacrosse team?
I bet he
What
would
does that
say
look
that
like? What is?
he'd probably say there's no difference.
Well,
You
that's
know?
what we're trying. That's what we're trying. But
Yeah.
having a perspective
Hmm.
like that, I think would be really cool
Yeah.
for both players.
I've always joked that, like, as a coach or a parent or whatever, you can say something a million times, but then when someone else says it, oh, it just locks in, right? They hear it. And, I would imagine you've said a lot of the same things that Saban does
Well, I
in
try.
principles and,
Hmm. Yep.
and then having those players hear it from another person absolutely would, like,
Yeah.
they'd lock in on that and
Right.
more believable. And it's not that you're not believable. Sometimes they just need to
Right. You
hear it
just need a
a
different
different way.
voice.
It's like playing multiple sports.
Hmm.
That coach talks about hip movement, open up your hips or
Hmm.
whatever in a way for football. And then we talk about it in a way for lacrosse. Could be similar, could be different, but for some reason, the delivery
Right.
is what gets heard. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and something we did last year, and something I try to do is I like to bring a guest speaker in before
So,
the playoffs after the regular season has
hmm.
ended. We had Isaac Naylor out there this last year. He was one of my JV football coaches.
Awesome.
Just an awesome cat. The kids loved him, and he gave a championship presentation, Ukrainian championship, and went
Hmm.
through it. And I thought that was valuable for our kids. We replaced it instead of film. We did
Yeah.
a guest speaker presentation, and that's something that I'm, you know, going forward. I'm going to try to do every year, and hopefully get some bigger names in there, so
Yeah.
the kids are like, oh,
He's big.
yeah,
Tell
I'm
him.
going to listen to
Yeah.
this guy.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
yeah, that's a tradition that I'm going to try to implement
That's
going
great.
forward as a guest
Yeah.
speaker. Hopefully, we get a Boise State football guy out there.
Let me put this in there. How important is film for your program? And I'm saying this for the benefit of other programs
Yeah,
that maybe aren't taking the time, even on an iPhone or whatever it is, to
right.
get that tape for their kids.
I'd say in our situation, and I think generally practice film is probably more valuable than game film,
Hmm.
depending on who the matchup is, right? If you don't get something out of a game that maybe was a big score gap,
Right.
I'm not going to go spend an hour watching that film the next day
Hmm.
if I'm only getting maybe 15 minutes worth of stuff I can actually use.
Yeah.
So I'd say the big games and the big film, that's all great to go look at and
Hmm.
review from a schematic standpoint. From a player's perspective and your own personal development, practice film, uh, which we don't film practices yet. Something we're going to try to do. I
Hmm.
think it's more valuable because you're practicing 4 days a week and you're playing one.
Yep.
So seeing how you practice, and then because we all go watch film on Mondays. We start every Monday after practice. We do a film session. Um, Typically, we watch film on the team we're playing that week, and then they'll have their own homework, not
Hmm.
scout report. They'll have their own review film and notes that they have to send to the coaches after that week's game.
Okay.
So, yeah, the practice film, that's something I got from Rocky football, right?
Hmm.
And even Boise State, Spencer Danielson is giving a presentation. They film everything.
Yep.
And one of the principles that I implement in our program is a 90-80-70 pyramid scheme, where if you're not executing your fundamentals, stick work, footwork at a 90% efficiency rate or better,
Hmm.
you cannot go into a competition period, whether it's one on one or two on two. You're not going to be able to go into that period and execute your job and perform the way you want to.
Yeah.
Um, but if you get through that 90, you're good on this, and then you go to competition, two on two, 1v1s. If your technique and fundamentals are still operating within that 80 to 90% efficiency, then you go to team.
Mhm.
Imagine if you're shooting the ball 70%
Yeah.
from the field,
Hmm.
right? Or imagine if, you know, your clear rate goes even up more,
Hmm.
man down efficiency. So that, kind of that pyramid scheme is something that I implemented this last year. And I think it ties into the practice portion to where you
Yeah.
can go see on your practice tape, this is what your footwork looked
Yeah.
like in period two, and this is why it looked the same in period eight.
Yeah.
We're going team, and you did the same thing.
Sure.
So I would
Good.
say the
Good or
practice,
bad, right?
yeah,
Hmm.
correct. I'd
Hmm.
say the practice film, which is something that I would like to implement in this spring. I think that's honestly more important than even game film.
Yeah. Those are the real reps. Yeah.
Well, especially with the one game per week schedule
Yeah.
that we operate under.
Yeah.
So
How are you tracking that data? Are you tracking that data yet?
film,
Yeah. Or
like
corrections? Yeah.
who's watching it. Yeah, Huddle tells you how much view
Okay.
time you
So you use
have,
Huddle.
but since we live stream on YouTube,
Hmm.
a lot of the kids just go to the YouTube film and watch it. So
Yeah.
it's hard to monitor,
Yeah.
who's watching the film. I know when I was at Rocky, if you showed up on a Tuesday and you didn't watch film
Hmm.
Saturday, Sunday, or Monday,
Hmm.
Souza, our receiver and strength coach, it's just gonna play right in the film.
Oh, as he should. It's part of the
He'll
deal.
pull up the film log. You can
Hmm.
see how much duration you've
Yeah.
viewed it. It's just another accountability thing
Hmm.
that I was grateful that Rocky
Yeah.
helped shine me. So
Yeah. It's always interesting to remind the upcoming underclassmen, right? Like,
mhm,
hey, when we're doing film, uh, get comfortable with being uncomfortable in public here,
right,
and everybody will get an equal
yeah,
opportunity to look like a knucklehead. I promise.
hmm,
It's just your turn.
exactly,
So it's kind of funny those first beginnings of film until people get comfortable,
right,
you know,
uh
being
huh,
called out or in a
yeah,
positive manner, or they do something completely ridiculous and it's
right, and
kind of
it's a
fun for
funny
everybody.
moment,
Yeah.
right, right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Hey, coach, I'm getting to the end. What else? What are we missing that you wanted to talk about and share?
Um, I kind of want to backtrack because you were hinting at the girls' side of lacrosse,
Yeah.
so helping out those, that part of lacrosse.
Yeah.
So one thing, I myself went to three different elementary schools, introducing lacrosse,
Hmm.
whether it's PE units or we do lax lunches, where we provide
Yeah.
cages, sticks, and it's essentially just a free play. I think as and not even just the committee, but the other teams, as you're trying to increase your boys program, you need to also help the girls.
Yep.
A lot of these people have, a lot of these families have siblings,
Hmm.
a lot of them. Um, and so I think if you're doing your due diligence in helping both and not being one way or the other, uh, and the messaging has to be the same, right? When I'm out at these things, it's hey, it's girls and boys lacrosse,
Yeah.
right? It's both. They both start at the same time. Both
Hmm.
wear, Timberline gear. Um, and I'd say some of the girls in these PE classes, they had more fun than the boys did. So I think the excitement is there.
Hmm.
Um, but as we're growing, the boys' registration numbers, like it has to be a joint.
Yeah.
It has to be
Yeah. We
a
can't leave
community.
anybody behind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It has to be a community thing for us to do is
Okay.
get both.
Yeah.
We have to get both.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you making that statement, and I agree.
Mhm.
And yeah, why not? And it's yeah, brothers and sisters out there or whoever,
Right.
friends, neighbors, growing together with
Hmm.
it's just awesome. It's just another opportunity
Right.
that and it's a good one.
Yep.
Like they can yeah,
Well, and then
we can do better
right,
for sure.
and by the time you get to high school, you're not working. It's not the boys program, girls program. It's you guys are together.
Timberline program, yeah.
Maybe you're sharing a shed.
Yeah.
You're sharing equipment,
Resources, yeah.
right? Which I don't think a lot of programs have that.
Hmm.
Um, and the ones that do, like, generally
Yeah.
we try to be as helpful to our girls program as possible. We're gonna, we can do more, and we're going to do more. And I think every program could follow suit as well.
Yeah. Love it. Okay, coach. I think this is a great place to end our show.
Awesome.
Thank you for
Thank you for
making
having
time.
me. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I look forward to having you back in the spring, talk about the upcoming season, and highlight some key players and things.
Absolutely. That'll be exciting.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.